The camera was returned to the family 3 weeks after the official search ended, not because answers had been found, but because procedures had been exhausted. Evidence without immediate utility becomes personal property again. The officer who handed it to me avoided eye contact, not out of guilt, but habit. He had done this before, many times. The form I signed described the device in neutral language. Digital camera, functional condition, no further investigative value. The phrase was precise and incorrect. Elena Kovacs had vanished without witnesses, without a struggle, without urgency. That alone made the case difficult. She was 31, a freelance photographer with no fixed address, moving between assignments and countries in a way that complicated jurisdiction. Her last known location was a coastal region rarely visited outside of summer, chosen specifically because it remained visually untouched. That was her preference. Places where absence could pass unnoticed. Her final confirmed communication was an email sent to her editor at 6:18 p.m. 3 sentences. Calm. Professional. No indication of distress. Metadata placed her within the expected area. After that, her phone went silent. The bag was found 2 days later near a trailhead. Clean. Undisturbed. Positioned deliberately. Inside it, the camera. I did not turn the camera on immediately. Objects retain intent longer than people do. I waited until I was alone, after reading the police file from beginning to end. The report was technically sound. Weather conditions were noted, search grids documented, timelines aligned. Nothing suggested incompetence. What it suggested was limitation. The system had worked within its parameters. Elena had disappeared outside them. When I finally powered the device on, the battery indicator showed 12%. Enough to review, not enough to linger. The images loaded slowly. Landscapes first, roads dissolving into distance, shorelines under low clouds. Locals photographed without intrusion. Elena's style favored distance and structure. She observed rather than engaged. The timestamps showed consistency, discipline, no gaps, until the end. The last 5 photographs were taken within 4 minutes. The environment changed rapidly. Fog rolled in, compressing depth, erasing landmarks. The 4th image showed motion blur, as if the camera had been lowered suddenly. The 5th was sharp. The final photo did not look intentional. No framing, no horizon line, just a narrow road dissolving into fog. Trees crowded the edges unnaturally, forming a corridor. At the center, barely visible at first, stood a figure, not facing the camera, standing still. The posture was neutral, balanced, not surprised, not fleeing, waiting, perhaps, or simply positioned. I cross-referenced the timestamp with the search logs. The area had been searched, thoroughly. According to the report, nothing had been found. According to the image, something had been there at the exact moment Elena stopped documenting the world. The police had seen the photo. I knew because it appeared indirectly in an appendix. Final image inconclusive. No identifiable individuals. Identification requires confirmation. Recognition does not. The difference matters only if someone is willing to acknowledge it. I enlarged the image until detail collapsed into pixels. Certain elements remained stubbornly consistent. The figure's placement, the narrowing of the road, the absence of motion. Elena had raised the camera not out of fear, but intent. People do not document threats unless they understand the value of record. The last photo was not art, it was evidence. When the camera powered down, the image remained. The system had failed to interpret it, but failure does not erase existence. It only delays consequence. The case did not reopen officially. Cases rarely do. Instead, it lingered in an administrative half-life, referenced occasionally, never advanced. Elena's disappearance was categorized as environmental risk compounded by isolation. The explanation satisfied policy requirements. It did not satisfy reality. I began by reconstructing Elena's movements independently, not through emotion, but through logistics. Transportation records, lodging receipts, local permits. She had altered her route twice during the assignment, deviations not explained by weather or access. These changes placed her closer to areas marked as privately maintained roads, unregistered but in use, places not covered by public infrastructure and therefore not included in official search grids. I contacted individuals indirectly, locals who rented equipment, a cafe owner who remembered her because she paid in cash despite accepting cards, a man who recalled seeing a woman photographing the road near dusk. None of this contradicted the police report. It existed outside it. The figure in the photograph became the axis of analysis, not who it was, but why it was there. Roads narrow for reasons: control, access, direction. Elena had documented a point where movement becomes choice rather than freedom. She had understood that too late. The camera itself revealed another detail overlooked initially. The internal clock was manually adjusted weeks before the disappearance, not incorrectly, intentionally. Elena had synchronized it with something, possibly another device, possibly a schedule. That level of precision suggests anticipation. There was no ransom, no communication, no recovery. That absence is often mistaken for randomness. It is not. It indicates resolution without negotiation. Elena had not been taken impulsively. She had been intercepted. I presented my findings to the authorities informally, framed as supplementary context. They acknowledged receipt. They thanked me. Nothing changed. Systems do not pivot on implications. They require violations. There were none that could be proven. Over time, Elena's case faded publicly. Online discussions quieted. The camera remained with the family. The image remained unresolved. The final photo on the camera was never explained because explanation would require acknowledging that disappearance can occur without chaos, without noise, without error. The image still exists, unlabeled, unresolved. It does not accuse, it records. And that is precisely why it remains inconvenient. Some cases are never solved not because they lack answers, because the answers do not belong to any institution willing to carry them. The last photo was not the end of Elena Kovacs. It was the moment the world chose not to follow her any further.